Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show, trying to make sense of this crazy Arizona market. Happy Monday to you. I'm not trying to pick a fight here today, but there's a couple of articles out there by Fannie Mae and the National Association of Realtors, and quite frankly, I think they're wrong. I just don't agree with them. Now, they're talking nationally, so I'm going to boil down what's going on here in Arizona and show you why I don't agree with them. Doesn't make me special. I just looked at it and said, I don't think that's why. And here's one of them right here. This is where, from Fannie Mae, saying unaffordability expected to remain primary constraint on home sales. That I do agree. Absolutely. I think it's going to be there for a while. It's holding everybody back. Buyers are saying, yeah, well, you can show me all the numbers you want, but I can't write the check. So forget about it. Not all buyers, though, and I'll show you, there's homes still selling. So if you're thinking of listing your home, it's not all dire news. It is summer. It is hotter than blazes out here. But here's what I don't agree with. Rise in listings likely means many homeowners no longer willing to delay a move. I don't think so, and I'm going to show you why I don't agree with that. The other one that I see here is from Lawrence Young, who's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, who's rarely right. He forecasts that interest rates will fall in the long term for 2024. Marry the house, date the rate. Existing home sales will rise to 4.46 million, up 9% from last year. It ain't looking like it. And it says that 2025 existing home sales will increase to 5.5 million, up 13.2%. from this year. I don't know. I don't predict out that far, but he's saying that there are 6 million more jobs compared to pre-COVID high, and jobs are boosting home prices. More jobs means more home sales and higher housing demand, says Yun. You need a strong local economy for a strong housing market. Now, that's one thing that we do have here is a strong local economy here in Arizona. Maybe fueling a lot of what we're seeing. Arizona hits new record low unemployment, but rush is on to train new workers. So we're hitting real lows on our unemployment here. But, the Taiwan chip plant is saying, hey, I need some skilled people there. I can't be flying people over from Taiwan every week. So, but let's go back to the listings right now, because everybody's saying, well, all these new listings are coming up and everybody's listing their houses. I know I had a conversation with a gentleman this weekend, and he lives in Sun Lakes. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here, because he said, now I'm going to bounce around a little bit because that's what I do. He said, man, I can't believe how many homes are for sale down here. I go, really? I think there's only like 69 homes. He goes, isn't that a lot? I go, no, it's not. Here you are. You're down here, and it's showing here active listings. Here it says 43. When I actually go in the MLS and pull it up, it's more like 67. It's hard for Cromford to break things out separately. Sun Lakes, Chandler, they do a good job with it. But that being said, if you look back here at 2019, they were at 64. I said, so you're below normal in Sun Lakes. And I said, and it just seems like there's more listings out there because you've gone a couple of years with no for sale signs in your neighborhood. And now all of a sudden you got two, and you're like, oh my God. Look at this. And here's where we're at. Active listings. Okay. They've gone from 18,103 last week to 18,183 this week, up about 100. Okay. Well, what's making them go up? Is that because more people are listing their homes? No, it's because they're staying on the market a little longer, and sales are not keeping up with the new listings that are coming on board. And I'll show you here on my 7-day moving average. This new listings right here, that chart is down. Now, the bounce up that you see here is coming out of Memorial Day, but new listings are not going up. And I'm going to show you another chart as well. Sales, though, are sitting here at about, 2,600, as you can see on the ticker below, a difference of 904 units, but that's a contract ratio of 75%. That's relatively healthy. We didn't see price reductions till we got down in the 60s last time. So that's nothing to sneeze at. But what I wanted to point out there is new listings are not what's driving active listings, like what they say at Fannie Mae. More people are selling because they have to. People aren't jumping out there and saying, here's my house, hurry. And here's another way to look at it. Pull up my handy dandy red pen here so that we don't get too dizzy. Here's June. The slight orange line there, I guess, did you call that orange? Last year, 6,961 new listings. This year, 5,506. Fewer listings coming on than last year. Fewer new listings. But why are listings new or current inventory? Why is it growing? Well, here it is here. Accumulative days on market, 63. So 63, 77, 6506. They're staying on the market longer. Staying on the market longer because sales are so tepid. And so as you add new listings and you're missing the mark by about 100 homes a week, it just continues to go up slowly. What we're not seeing in this market is just this rush of new homes that are coming on. And but the national articles are trying to give you the impression that that is happening. Pending listings, though, and this is the story here, are below last year. So you can see here at 4,891. So of the listings that are out there, fewer of them are being gobbled up. But the listing success rate is still not too bad. Like I showed you, 75% on the way that I track it at the 7-day moving average. And here's what's going on with the Cromford Market Index. Look at all that red. So in other words, it's not getting any better. And this measures supply and demand. I don't exactly know the math that Cromford does to put these numbers together. And of course, it's proprietary. So they're not going to call me and say, okay, Rick, take this, divide by this. Chandler's still 199.2. Anything above 110 is considered a seller's market. Anything below that is balanced or buyer's market. You can see Chandler is still leading the bunch here, down 5% from last week. That's a pretty big clip. And the only ones that have gone up are Avondale and Tempe. Tempe went up 3%. Down at the bottom of the pile here is Buckeye at 63, Maricopa at 67, Queen Creek. Those three, buyer's market. You have leverage down there as a buyer. So that's where if you want to go and say, hey, I could use some seller concessions here and see if you can give me a better price. Those are the cities where that's going to happen. Now, Buckeye and Queen Creek, of course, and Maricopa, resales are competing with new builds. So I've been preaching that, saying that like a drunken sailor, but here's price changes. Price cuts. Boy, we hit a peak last week, June 9th at 2,464. We dropped down to 2,256. So people that were listing their homes are saying, well, that didn't work. And Real Life Finance here says, your Arizona prediction expert, I say your inventory will cross 20,000 by year end. It may, Jason, but it's going to drip up there. It's not going to fly up. But if our sales remain where they're at, barring any surprise interest rate cut, and there's our percentage of closings with seller pay concessions, it could hit 20,000. But if you end up with lower interest rates and the market picking up a little bit, we may not. I don't know if that's going to happen. But here's what's going up. Seller concessions are now almost half of all transactions that we have out there, 48%, with an average of 9,450. That number's kind of stuck there. It's been over 9,000 for a long time. And it's what sellers have to do to attract buyers. Buyers are not going to come in and offer you your price and not ask for anything right now. That's just the way the market is. And that's quite honestly where the market's been. But with, 3.5% unemployment here in Arizona, we don't have any bleak numbers looking out saying that things are going to get ugly anytime soon. I saw a Facebook post. It was interesting. I'm in a lot of realtor group Facebook posts. That's where realtors go to vent, whine, cry. I haven't anything to cry about lately, so I haven't posted. But somebody put, and it just happened to be Chandler, and they put on there and said, I've had a listing out there for a week. And they always say this, it's priced right, and it looks good, but nobody's looked at it. What are you guys seeing? Well, if you're priced right, nobody's looking at it, you're not priced right. And maybe it looks good, but maybe it doesn't look great. And there were one post this guy put up there, and he goes, well, my Chandler listing this week, Got 5 offers, all of them over asking price. My second listing that I put up last week got 4 offers, all over list price. And the one that I have coming up next week will probably fly off the shelf as well. I have it listed as coming soon. I already have 2 people very interested. What's that tell you? It tells you the market's doing okay, but you better do a better job with your listings. You better put them out there, and you better price it correctly. And because if you do, it's going to move. Now, when somebody says I priced it correctly, I mean, that can be anything. It can be, well, I priced it on the average comps. Well, if the market's starting to soften up a little bit, going back and looking back 3 months is not going to be your friend. 3 months is old data. People tend to do that. They take a look and they go, well, and some people do comps just based on price per square foot. And that's a deal killer right there. They say, okay, we're getting $272 a square foot. So that's where I'm going to be. Therefore, I am priced correctly. And then your realtor will be on Facebook next week going, hey, nobody's looking at my house. Hard to accept the listing when the history a few years ago was 100K, and now it's doubled or quadrupled. 100K a few years ago. Help me understand that. Accept the listing when the history a few years ago was 100K. Now it's doubled. Okay, so you're saying the price there. Hard to accept a listing. Clarify that just a little bit more for me. I've only had 2 cups of coffee, which usually gets me going, but maybe I'm missing something here. Yes, the prices have doubled. They definitely had. And we're in a situation we haven't been before. There was so much money injected in the system to help us dig out from the pandemic. And now we're trying to unwind. So it took all of the people that were going to buy later and made them buy now. So people that were going to buy 2 years, 3 years out said, well, let's pull the trigger now because rates have never been this low. So all the forward purchases got rolled into a little ball, and supply and demand drove prices up. Now, if you look at actual sales prices that are out there, you can see that they plateaued and they're kind of starting to come down a little bit. And Jason here says, I agree, hard to swallow when house prices are double 6 or 7 years ago. It is tough. Could they be this way for a long time? Probably. They could. I mean, there's arguments on both sides. You can say this isn't going to last on affordability, so bad prices are going to come crashing down. Here goes inventory. Hold on, here we go. And I can say, well, yeah, but we're not seeing inventory spike up at a level that's forcing prices down. It is tampering expectations. I'm definitely seeing that. I thought I could get this. I'm wrong. It's not working out quite like that. That's why we're seeing the price reductions that are showing up. But then the argument can be made that says, and this is taking a flying above 30,000 feet macro view that says, the central banks between a rock and a hard place, they look to be executing a soft landing. In other words, tightening up without crashing the economy. And it looks like it may work. Now, if it doesn't work, we can end up with a pretty bad recession. And nobody likes recessions. But there's one thing guaranteed about every recession. You end up with lower rates. While they do look and track inflation, housing's not really on their radar. And central bank chairman has said several times, I can't do anything about that. It's inventory driven. I can raise rates like crazy and crash the market if I want to. But until we build more houses, there's going to be pricing pressure. One condo I saw sold for about 150-ish in 2017 is now 400. Yeah, they are, but they sold. Supply and demand, it sold. And Jason said, we agree. We pulled forward sales in 2024 into 2021 and 2022. I call that the silly season. Yes, condos that were 150 are now 400. Wouldn't you love to get a condo right now for about 150? I mean, take that on the flip side and go, holy cow. But getting back to the central bank, since he can't do anything about housing except for crash it if he really raises rates, he's also going to cause a severe banking crisis. So it's out there that we could see, not this year or next year, but inflation reignite and the whole thing take off all over again. And one thing that happens during inflation is assets grow. Gold, cars, real estate. equities. So, we could end up at another inflationary period. I'll leave that to real life finance down here to tell me if I'm all wet. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that's out there. It could happen. So, the big issue right now is unaffordability, like was stated here with Fannie Mae. Excuse me, got a little cough going on there. Expected to remain the primary constraint, and I agree. Now, agreeing doesn't mean I can solve it. The unaffordability is if we get rates that come flying down and it makes it easier to purchase, then prices will escalate back up unless we see more listings. Now, Fannie Mae, well, actually, not Fannie Mae, but Lawrence Yun of National Association of Realtors has kind of been all over the map. He said earlier in the year, if we get more inventory, sales will increase. That's kind of an opposite view on what's actually happening. We're getting more inventory, barely, because sales have decreased. So we're not seeing more new listings coming, and that's why I don't agree with him. So he felt that this year, that as more listings come on, the buyers would follow. And he was also very optimistic about interest rates, 4 to 6 rate cuts. Remember how optimistic everybody was in January? We're going to have 4 to 6 rate cuts. Remember all the mantra, marry the house, date the rate, you'll be fine, let's go. If you don't buy now, you'll never be able to afford it again. Here we go. Don't sit on your hands. Well, people sitting on your hands now are going, I'm kind of glad I waited. Let me just continue to wait this out. Now, people have election year jitters. They always do. The only thing that an election has ever caused is anxiety. It causes people to sit back and wait a little bit. It hasn't had any fundamental change on the general direction of pricing or interest rates. I've looked at it for every election since about 1994. And I did a video on this a few months ago showing there's nothing there, folks. Everybody says, I'm going to wait till after election. Okay, well, you can wait till after November for different reasons, but the election is not going to change the value of that house that you're looking at purchasing. Greater economic forces will, either the money's tightening or the money's loosening. Now, they've only got 2 more chances to change rates, and that is September and then after the election. So there's only one more time to make an adjustment on rates if they really want to steer the election. Now, you can lower rates in September and the election is in November, and you lower rates on the federal funds rate in September. It's not going to move the bar. It's not going to make people go, oh, here goes the economy, let's go. So if they really wanted to affect the election, they would have lowered rates back when they raised them. So about a year and a half ago or a year ago, they should have lowered rates if they really wanted to affect the election. So I'm not seeing any evidence of that. We haven't seen it. There's not really anything that's going to happen between now and November except people going, oh no. And Matt here says elections cause speculation. One thing's for certain, the government will spend more than ever. They've been spending more than ever forever. If I were to pull up the debt clock right now, you'd get very dizzy. There will be continued spending, especially going into November. But it's already in the books. I mean, the spending's already out there. So, but nothing's going to change. The one thing that happens after an election, the stock market always goes up, whether a Republican wins or a Democrat wins. And the reason is they're just like, thank God it's over. I'm so tired of this. I just had a rental. Jason said over 100 people interested. I was shocked to find out about 30 of them been trying to buy homes, just couldn't quite qualify. Demand isn't going to drop off a cliff. I've never seen a market where this many people are wanting to buy. That's the difference. When things started really softening in 2007, I didn't see anybody say, I'm waiting for an adjustment so I can get in. Everybody was running for the hills. Well, financing collapsed. So I want a house. I can't get a loan. That's the difference. Right now, I want a house. I can get a loan, but I can't afford it. But I'm waiting. And so I've never seen this many people wait. So if interest rates did come down and, remember the projections, Barry Habib, you're going to be at 5.5%. Well, that never happened. And we do know that if we get to 5.5%, that housing starts taking off like crazy because we've seen it. There was a brief period where we went down to 5.5 and boom, there went sales. They took off like a rocket. So, but I don't see 5.5 in my horizon here anytime soon. But so people are re-upping their leases. Now, in inflationary times, it's harder to get a long-term lease. I remember in the late 70s when I was leasing in Edmonds, Washington, I had a 9-month lease. People thought I'd struck gold because nobody wanted to sign you more than 6 months out because they wanted to keep raising your rent. If you got a 1-year lease, you must have been related to the landlord. But, 9-month, way to go, Rick. My rent payment was fixed. No reason to move rates. Inflation under 4%, unemployment at 4%. The economy is humming along. Now, some of that unemployment number, the jobs reports that we get, I'm a little suspect there. Most of them are part-time. The majority of them are government jobs. It's hard to look at the numbers. You just kind of look outside and look next door and see what's going on. You know how the economy's doing. I'm still surprised driving around the valley at how many strip malls have vacant buildings, vacant spots in them. There's a old neighborhood on Alma School, and I think it's Warner, where there used to be a Smith's grocery store. Now there's a Walmart down at the end there. That whole place there is still empty. I think I read that they're finally going to develop that, but it's been sitting there with nothing going on for quite some time. We're also seeing, I think at a rather large scale here in the valley, is that malls, the old shopping malls, are being torn down and refurbished, turned into different entities, condos, restaurants, shops. The mall concept, they're done. I'm surprised that the Chandler Mall has hung in as long as it has. But you walk around in there, there's not that many people there. There's a big Shields, big sports store that's there. They're taking the bottom part of Sears, and I think they're turning that into some kind of an arcade. But the old shopping malls that we used to have are not what they used to be. And I think you can just quite honestly thank Amazon for that. And Amazon did announce today that they're no longer going to package your package with those little bubble wraps in there. They're going to use paper. So buy your stock in paper mills right now, because that's what's going to happen. I wonder if they're going to use like used newspaper. So you'll get something from Detroit. That's probably not it. So retail has right-sided. Right-sized. Yes, I think you are correct. Good morning, Renee. Retail is humming along online. Excuse me. It's like I got an allergy or something going on today. But anyway, that's what's going on in our market. I hope everybody has a retail as a commercial real estate sector is fine. Where's that commercial real estate crash was supposed to be coming? Haven't seen it. Have you seen all the warehouses out on the 303? I read why they're there. I mean, there's like Puma's got, I don't know, 1 or 2 million square feet that they're going to rent out there. Office is the one that's not right. Yeah, that's a problem. But what's happening is only in the Inland Empire out in, which is east of LA, which is where most of the warehouses go. Remember, everything comes to Southeast Asia, comes in on Long Beach. They go to these warehouses. It gets spit out from there. They've got an occupancy rate out there of about 1%, and the warehouses are full. They need someplace else to put this product. So they say, well, let's go 6 hours, 7 hours east. We can go to Arizona. We can get far cheaper lease rates. We can actually, the math is the same. And so it's going to solve our problem. And so retail has moved to home delivery. So that's why all these warehouses are out there. And the other thing that's coming is a lot of data centers. What I'm curious about, and I got to see if I can find somebody I can talk to at either APS or SRP, is where are we going to get the power? You look at the data centers that are coming, electric cars, where are you going to plug them in? And where's this power coming from? I know the state of Michigan's having a severe problem, like my throat. There we go. I'm back. What's going on down there? Michigan is basically telling companies, you want to bring a data center here? We're tapped out. We don't have any more power. People talk a lot in Arizona about water. I think we need to start looking at our power and figure out how we're going to do that. Now, rest assured that this administration has pledged $8.5 billion to put in charging stations. That was passed 2 years ago, and they've built 7. I don't know why that is. I thought I'd poke fun at that. So It'd be great if you can break out duplex, triplex from single family data, sales, price, inventory, and price reductions. I think single family homes stays strong. Rent collapse. What do you think? Rest collapse. Brian, I can take a look at that. I don't know if Cromford's going to break that down for me, but let me see what I can dig up. I know that there was a real push for a while there. People really wanted to buy duplexes so that they could live in one and rent the other side out. That's but we'll see. And Jason, you're saying rents are softening for sure. We're not seeing that here yet. Let me show you here on rentals, average rental per square foot in our market coming up. It's actually gone up. So that rental softening that we thought we were going to see starting right here actually didn't happen. So I am seeing, even though this is these are rentals on the MLS, so they don't track in Cromford that condo or that apartment complex down the street that's offering you the first month free. So if you look, you can see there's a lot of deals out there right now to get you into the apartment. I've seen $1,000 off. You can just move in for just a deposit, and that's it. Your first month is free. That wasn't out there last year. 101 of my 3-bedroom rental, no rent collapse. So the apartment complexes, the big ones that are built where they seem to be just glutting the market, are now putting out incentives to get you interested in that project. And we didn't see that a couple of years ago. I mean, they just gouged you for everything that you could get. Your rent went from $1,100 a month to $1,700 and just killed you. So right now they're saying, hey, come on in. We'll still gouge you month to month, but we're going to give you a sweet deal if you just pull up the rental truck here and move in. So hope everybody has a great Monday. If you're into hockey, tonight's the night. You know, I haven't been into hockey. I've never watched it. But I got into this playoff here and Florida versus Canada. Man, it looked like Florida was going to run away with it. They were up 3-0. And now here come the Edmonton Oilers. They've tied the series and now they're playing in Florida tonight. And it's going to be a great game. And so I think it's going to be fun. Tonight's the night somebody's going to win the cup. I always like to see the hometown team win the cup because I like watching the crowd erupt. I like to see the hometown team win when it's the World Series. Otherwise, you get tepid applause, right? So, it's an away game and you just beat the home team and the crowd goes, I want to see a place explode. So I'm cheering for the Panthers tonight. Renee says the Panthers will win. I'm calling it now. And I hope they win because I want to see the home crowd. I don't have, I should say I have a little vested interest in the Panthers winning. And offering rent discounts keeps the rental comps higher while effectively reducing the month of rent. Sleight of hand. Kind of like new construction, right? Giving you $50,000 in incentives. So anyway, if you are watching a game, have a good time tonight. Let's go Panthers for the home crowd to explode. And let's see what happens. Otherwise, stay inside and stay cool. Have a great day. Take care.